Good afternoon. I am League member and co-chair of Voter Services, Diane D'Imperio, and I will be the moderator for the candidate panel for the Gainesville City Commission at Large, Seat B. There are two candidates for this position, Gabriel Hillel and Gail Johnson. Gabriel Hillel, was invited but declined to participate, so we want to welcome Gail Johnson to the forum. The City Commission at Large, Seat B, will be elected by the City of Gainesville registered voters to serve an approximately 3.5-year term until January of 2025. The next election for this seat will take place in August of 2024, and subsequent City Commission terms will be for 4 full years. The person elected must be a resident of the City of Gainesville during the time in office. All Gainesville registered voters who live in the city limits, regardless of the district in which they live, may vote for this seat. City commissioners are limited to 2 terms of office. The format of the forum will be as follows. The candidate will have 1.5 minutes for her opening statement. Following the opening statement, I will read the questions that are prepared by the League of Women Voters, and the candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each one. There will be 5 questions total. Then the candidate will have 1.5 minutes for a closing statement. The candidate will be able to see the timer, who will indicate the remaining time at 30 seconds and then when it's time to stop. Please stop when your time is up or your microphone may be muted. We will now begin with the opening statement. Gail Johnson, you have 1.5 minutes to make your opening statement.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Diane, Deborah, Joe, the League, and to everybody that has joined us today. I appreciate your time and I appreciate you organizing this. Some of the reasons why I ran for office, to have an impact on affordable housing, to have clear policies, practices, and procedures around attaining racial and gender equity in our city. They are still some of our most pressing issues. And sometimes it feels like the work is just beginning. And I realize that it will likely never end. I am a proud member of Local Progress and a founding member of the Local Progress Florida organizing team. And what we are is we're a national movement of local elected officials that are advancing a racial and economic justice agenda throughout all levels of local government. So we are elected leaders who build power with underrepresented communities, and we share bold ideas among our network and policy, and we fight to reshape what is possible in our localities all around the nation. So policymaking and resource allocation will always be an issue of equity and justice for me, whether it's equitable development and saving our neighborhoods, or food access in underserved areas, or increased resources for those who have really suffered the most from unfair systems. I will always approach policymaking and its outcome from the vantage point of the most vulnerable. So this vantage point is important now more than ever. The impact of COVID-19 on our families, on education, on housing and homelessness, on small businesses and the economy, it's remaking the nation and our city. And it really has exposed the broken systems to all of us. So I consider the work that I do in this city justice work. And at all times, in all ways, I'm always asking who is at the table? Why are they there? Who has the crumbs and who has a full?
Thank you. Sorry to stop you, but you get 5 questions yet. So
okay.
You have plenty of opportunity to express yourself. I'm glad you're so enthusiastic.
Sounds good.
Our first question is, what do you propose as a solution for families who have an income but are spending almost half of it on housing?
So housing for our low to very low income neighbors is probably one of the most pressing issues in this community. And that means that we need to have a really bold response to some of that, but we're not going to be able to do it alone as a city. So right now we have really tackled some of the housing issues and affordable housing issues in our community. We have everything that we're talking about, from community land trusts to making sure that people can hold on to their homes. And we have about 15 different policy points that we've asked staff to explore. But I think that part of what is missing from that is affordable and low income housing. And like I said, we're not going to be able to do that on our own. So what we need, besides all the kind of, things that are within the city's purview that we can do with zoning, et cetera, we need a dedicated funding source for affordable housing. And, for many, many years at this point, the Sadowski Fund has been raided. We are going to need to figure out as a community how we have a dedicated funding source so that we can build or support people that do this work, affordable housing work, that how we can support that work in the community. So it's about coming together as a community to maybe have some hard conversations around what a dedicated funding source will look like, because there's only so much capacity that we have right now in the city of Gainesville. Thank you.
Our next question. There have been 3 articles in the Gainesville Sun, 2 of them by city commissioners, about the lack of health care east of Waldo Road. What do you suggest that the city do about this?
So healthcare is not just making sure that there are enough primary care providers in a certain area. It really, in part, is also about food. What kind of food access do we have in the city? And we all know that on the west side of town, there are 13 grocery stores with healthy food that folks have access to. And on the east side, there is Walmart. So I consider part of the initiative Create a Healthy Community is talking about, and not just talking about, but having there be action behind creating food access on the east side of town in the form of one of the initiatives is a potentially a brick and mortar grocery on the east side of town that the government, the local government, will support in many different ways. So we're having that discussion on Thursday and look forward to hearing what the outcome of that is. And in addition to that, there are many other initiatives that we're considering, something called the Healthy Corner Store Initiative, where we would be incentivizing businesses to carry healthy foods within their stores, whether it's corner stores, liquor stores, any kind of brick and mortar outfit on the east side of town that would be amenable to this potential program. So we're discussing that. In addition, I think we need to start having some conversations around what does, primary care providers, where they're located, why they're located there, and talking with UF Health, and people that might even provide alternative care for people, because that's something that is definitely a problem, specifically on the east side of town.
Thank you. Our next question, what strategies would you propose to increase public transportation to underserved areas?
So right now, I think that it has been very successful, and we have had the pilot program where we can call and someone will pick you up from your home and take you to where you need to go. And that is a program of RTS that I think we should expand. So I think that that's one way to approach it. Also, we need to make sure that we get rid of fares for people living in our community. We should have a free bus system. And I think that will also help. I also think that it's making sure that we're not displacing people, because that's a part of it also. Right now, where there is public transportation and access to services, we need to make sure that low-income people can stay in their neighborhoods and still have access. And what is happening right now is people are being displaced from our neighborhoods. So that, to me, is a loop that we have got to figure out how to close. And I'm hoping that we will continue to make sure that we center the voices of the people that have been most marginalized in our community, particularly when it comes to transportation and other issues.
Thank you. Our next question, can solar power developed with environmental justice in mind be part of Gainesville's goal of 100% renewable energy for electricity by 2045? If yes, how can that be done? And if not, what are the alternatives?
So that's a good question, and a little bit of a complicated one. And I say that it's complicated because um, right now we have limited resources. I 100% believe that we can get to renewable energy 100% by 2045. I am also aware that we cannot do this alone. The technology isn't quite there yet. I'm really hopeful that with the new administration that we have uh, at the federal level, that we will be able to have some type of subsidies or partnerships that will ultimately enable us to reach renewable energy by 2045. But I will say that where we are right now as a city, we are going to need some of the technology to catch up. We are going to need many more partnerships. We're going to need our friends, and I'm going to say friends, at the state level to be able to assist us in this effort. It is 100% going to be about partnerships in reaching this goal of renewable energy by 2045. We can't do it alone.
Okay, thank you. And our final question. The impact of COVID-19 is more prevalent and severe among people of color. What are your thoughts about this disparity and the city's role in addressing it?
Repeat that question for me.
Sure. The impact of COVID-19 is more prevalent and severe among people of color. What are your thoughts about this disparity and the city's role in addressing it?
So my thoughts around this disparity is that these disparities have always been here, and that COVID-19 has really shown all of us what the impacts of essentially racism are in our community. So to me, it's becoming even more urgent to address all of the issues that are surrounding COVID-19 that have continued to marginalize communities of color. And that is around housing, it's around food access, it's around healthcare, it's around almost everything, it's around jobs, because people, of lower income are the ones that are, in the jobs with the most contact right now. So to me, it is an entirely systemic issue, all parts of which we need to address that will ultimately hopefully move towards a place where we have better outcomes related to COVID-19. But it is all a system that's interconnected, and we can't take a piece of it and say, well, we're going to work on this, and that's going to make it all better. We literally have to be working on everything right now, and we have to be doing it in a collaborative way. I'm really thrilled right now with some of the new leadership that we have, because it's impacting our education system, right? It's impacting social services, it's everything. So right now, it's so important for all of our jurisdictions to be working together. City, county, school board, we must be able to come together and have some clear solutions. And to me, that's what's most important right now, is that not just the city is working on this, right? But we're working with our county, we're working with our school board, we're working with our, state representatives that are in alignment with some of the issues that we all care about.
Thank you. Now we will move on to the closing statement. Gail Johnson, you have 1.5 minutes to close out your section of the panel.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Deciding to run again was not an easy decision for me. The issues that we face both as a nation and as a city, they are endless. And sometimes it seems that that there are solutions that are really hard to come by. And honestly, they're heartbreaking sometimes. And some of the decisions that we've made as a commission sometimes are disturbing to me. Really how we prioritize what is important. So when I began this journey over 4 years ago, my daughter was 7, now she's 11. The years have gone by incredibly quickly, but I have recommitted to running again. I have recommitted to this city. I have recommitted to all of the work that continues, that needs to be done around racial equity, around gender equity, around our affordable housing. During these challenges, also, there have been many highlights. I'm proud of the work that some of the commission that has done, and much of it has been led and advocated for by people and groups in the community. And I am certain that we do our best work when we are listening and we're working in partnership with the community. So I'm running again because I am truly hopeful with new leadership in the county. I'm running because I believe that true change is possible. I want to see the comprehensive plan and that process through. I want to see the racial equity work through. We have a lot more work to do on this front, but I believe that these efforts will lead to long-term systemic change. So this new term for me, it's about the light workers, the justice instigators, and you all good troublemakers out there. It's not my seat, it's your seat. And if you see fit to reelect me, I will always, I promise I will always do my best to be the representation for this city that we all deserve. Thank you.
Well, thank you, candidates and viewers. This ends the League of Women Voters of Alachua County Candidate Forum for the Gainesville City Regular Election of 2021. Please remember to vote early, vote by mail, or vote in person on March 16th, 2021. Thank you.